All right, sorry about that. That was, which minute? Um, I lost my place. If you guys were in here, like we were in class, you would help me find my place again. All right, what's the occasion? It's a fiesta. I think that's where it was. She repeated. I banged the spoon on the side of the pot to clean it. You can't have too many leftovers, Mammers went on. Did I skip something? No. Um, well, she was right about that. I thought as I twirled the spoon in my fingers, the refrigerator would be full of this stuff until she came back again. All or nothing. That was Mammers. Get me that head of iceberg from the fridge, huh? What's iceberg? You guys know what iceberg is? Lettuce. Yep, a head of iceberg lettuce. Um, she said, I did. When I handed it over, she put the blade of her knife up through the still wrapped head of lettuce and stared at it for a second. She peeled back the plastic. Oh, oh, my long lost love. She spoke to the pale green head. She puckered her lips and made loud kissing noises. I think there's a little bit of personification going on here. How could you stay away so long? I have waited, kiss, and waited for your return. Kiss, kiss. She went on and on. I don't know why I didn't laugh. It was funny enough. Instead, I picked up a sponge. Addie, you poop. Mammers dropped her lettuce puppet on the table. What's the matter with you? I shook my head. What? You, I said. I stood at the sink, turning the faucet off and on over the sponge for no reason. I know what you're doing, I said. You're trailer stuffing. Trailer stuffing? You're filling the place up with food. I swiped at the counter with the sponge. You're going to leave again. Mammers froze for a second. Well, I can't be here all the time. I have a job, you know. You are really mad at me? I can't believe this. You were gone all the time, I said. I mashed the meat tray into the garbage and pushed it down hard twice. We're going to get caught again, I mumbled. Caught? No, no, we are not. Mammers took a deep breath. This isn't the same as before. Besides, you're 12 now. And look at you. Now listen. I'm here doing all this cooking, and you are spoiling fiesta night, Addison. Come on, get happy. She went on chopping and frying. Then, without looking at me, she said, and when I'm not here, you just take real good care of yourself. Give me a little more time. Everything will work out fine. What do you guys think about that? Do you think Addie's right? Do you think that Mammers is trailer stuffing? And what exactly does that mean? Like she's stocking the trailer with food because she's about to leave Addie again? Do you think Addie's right about this? I think Addie definitely has some prior knowledge and some experience in dealing with her mom, and she's probably on to something. So let's see if she's right. I waited a couple of seconds. Did you tell Pete? I'll tell him I'll tell him about the baby when he needs to know, she said flatly. I didn't mean that, I said. I meant, did you tell him about me? She didn't answer. I managed to eat one taco. Mammers ate three. While she settled in front of the TV with a diet soda, I cleaned up the kitchen. It seemed to take forever. The oil had splattered, and she had set the meat and beans spoon down on the counter in about a dozen different places. There were puddles of slop everywhere. You know, that kind of reminds me of my kitchen because my kids have been cooking. They've wanted to kind of cook their own food here since we've been home these past couple of weeks, and it's good because they need to practice, but they get a little messy. So sometimes I have to go back and clean up after them. But Addie's kind of cleaning up after her mom here. The more I cleaned, the madder I got. Mommer sat glued to Jeanette. I began to think it was better when I had the trailer to myself. At least then I only had to clean up my own mess. I scraped the meat and beans into a plastic bowl and stored it in the fridge. I scrubbed the pan in the sink and dried my hands. Finally, I said. Then I turned and saw the tortilla pan at the back of the stove and the onion bowl that I had missed on the table. She thought she was done. I let a little growl out between my teeth. Hey, I'll get the rest, Mammers called to me. Oh, I said, really? That'd be nice. I'm going to do my homework. In the morning, I found Mommers asleep in front of the TV. Now, there's another break in the page right before I started in the morning, so I guess Addie got her homework done and Mommers fell asleep watching Jeanette, right? She had not moved since the night before. She had not done the last of the dishes. I went to her and shook her by the shoulder. Don't you have to be at work soon? I asked. She grumbled and rolled away from me. Mommers, I said again. You were going to finish the kitchen, remember? I took my shower and left for school. And that's the end of the chapter Fiesta Night. So, why was it entitled Fiesta Night? What would you say? Leave a comment and tell me what you think. Why that was a good title for the chapter. Or maybe you have another chapter title that you think would fit that chapter. Leave a comment, please. I want to hear from you. All right, the next chapter is chapter 41, and it is entitled Making Changes. I wonder what kind of changes. I wonder who's making changes. Maybe it's Addie, maybe it's Mommers, maybe it's Elliot or Sula, or we haven't heard from Dwight, or we haven't heard from, what's his name? Grandia. We haven't heard from Grandia lately, so maybe there's another character making changes. All right, so let's read this chapter. Chapter 41, Making Changes. Hi, Elliot, I said as I entered the mini mart. My backpack caught on the closing door and pulled me backward. Elliot laughed and raised a hand. Hi, Addie. I looked at the empty lawn chair. Sula was usually right there when I came in from school. Where is she? I asked. Napping. It's not a great day, Elliot said, curling his lip. Oh, poor Sula, I said. Yeah, only don't let her catch you saying that, he warned me. He put his finger to his lips. No pity parties. Right. Hey, Elliot, I kept my voice low. Isn't it time for the last chemo? Past time, he nodded. Way past. But they're holding off. She needs a break. Oh, that's good, I said, I grabbed the broom and started sweeping my way past the dairy case. Sula probably wants a break. She told me the chemo is the cure, but the cure is a killer. Guess that's true, said Elliot. I hung around a while. I unpacked a box of chips and filled the coffee cup dispenser. Elliot took inventory in the candy aisle, marking off an order form he had on a clipboard. What's this week's winner? I asked. Hershey's Plain, he replied. Same as usual. Not much changes around here. He made a big sigh and ran his hand over his short hair. Then again, maybe that's a good thing, I have to admit. I thought he was being a bit dramatic. I think Addie likes the fact that there's some consistency about coming to visit Elliot and Sula. They're there and things are kind of the same, and she knows what to expect. And I guess this inventory of the candy aisle is kind of a fun way to, kind of see who buys what types of candy bars the most. And if it were me, I would not buy the Hershey bar. I would probably get Skittles or probably something like that. What would you get? What would be your choice? Maybe some of you are like the Hershey bar or the Paydays or what other kinds of candy bars do you guys like to eat? Let me know. Aw, come on, Elliot. It's just chocolate, I said. Hey, let's change something. Let's change the radio station. He gave me a silly grin. I got up on a stool and turned the tuning dial until I got a country and western station. He pushed back a cardboard display for disposable cameras and made a dance floor. Elliot was so good at leading that he made me, the clod, look like a pro. When I sat out, exhausted and sweaty, he danced the broom instead, and just as easily, too. From my milk crate stage, I sang with a twang into my ice scraper microphone. 1 minute you're beating all the odds, and the next they're beating you. Sula never showed that afternoon. I left her a note to say hello and told her I'd be by tomorrow in case she had missed me. I shouldered my backpack and headed out. Hey, kiddo, Elliot said. He laughed when I pretended to be squished in the closing door. Thanks for hanging around. Sure, I said. I squeezed out the door and made a big circular wave with my arm from the other side. I think Elliot is probably worried about Sula. and appreciates having Addie around. All right, here's another break in the page. I hopped the river of water that came streaming across the road from Sula's melting avalanche. I sniffed the air. 5 o'clock on the corner had a sort of grassy smell about it, with what with everyone coming and going. Elliot would be anchored to the register soon, with everyone fueling up. The air was warmer than it had been in months. March was here. Spring was coming. I wondered how long before the tar would bubble up in place of all the slush and melting snow. I remembered popping the bubbles with Katie and Brenna back in September. I caught a sorry breath in my chest, along with a cloud of exhaust from an 18-wheeler. I coughed my way into the trailer and closed the door quickly. Whoa, you don't need any of that stink filling up your lungs, Pick, I said. I checked the stove just like I had for 4 nights running. Mammers had still not been back. Wow. Or if she had been, she still hadn't done her share of the fiesta night cleanup. Addie's being kind of stubborn about finishing these dishes. I'm sure that, she doesn't want to have to clean them up. Her mom said she was going to do it, so she's still waiting. 4 nights ago. The taco pan was still on the back of the stove, and I left it there. I scrubbed the saucepan I'd made my chicken noodle soup in. I was sick of beans after 4 nights in a row. And the knife I spread peanut butter onto my toast with. I rinsed the suds from my bowl, glanced at the pan full of oil, and thought about cleaning it. Nope, I said, not gonna. I wiped up all around it, then I turned on the radio, found the station Elliot and I had so much fun with, and kicked back. From now on, Pick, I clean up after me and you. I'm changing my life. I threw my head back and howled with the music. Now, what was the title of this chapter? Do you remember? Making changes. So I think that maybe this is about Addie making a change, that she's only going to clean up after her and Pick. Remember, Piccolo is her pet hamster. All right, chapter 42 is entitled My Fault. I woke up way before the alarm the next morning. I was sure I had heard Mammers come in, but when I woke her room, But when I checked her room, it was empty. I looked at the clock. It was just a little after 5. I had hours before I needed to leave for school. I dug into the cupboard and pulled out a packet of cocoa mix, the last packet. Well, Piccolo, I got me one last cocoa and plenty of time to drink it, I said, still enjoying a western twang. I flicked on the burner to start my kettle and went in for a quick shower. When I came padding out in my bare feet and bathrobe, a few minutes later, I heard a strange sound, a mix of crackle and wind. Not right. I wonder what that could be. The air smelled like burning tacos. I whipped around to see I totally messed that up, sorry. I whipped around to see a black haze rising from the fry pan on the stove. There was a loud pop, and it burst into flames. I reached for the handle, too hot. I dropped the pan. The flames spilled and leaped. I grabbed the fire extinguisher. What had Dwight said? I pulled the pin and aimed. A watery spray hit the fire. So there's a fire starting in the trailer. I wonder how that happened. No foam. There should be foam. The flames climbed the back wall and crept along the ceiling overhead. I let the extinguisher drop. I ran to my bunk, grabbed Piccolo's cage, and opened the trailer door. I turned and saw the fire swallow the Tibetan paper shade and the Valentine hearts. The bulbs shattered, and I slammed the door. I must have set Pick's cage down. I really don't remember that part, and I don't know how a person has enough sense to get out of a burning trailer, but not get away from it. I just know that I stood there on the steps swearing and beating my palms on the metal door until they stung with pounding heat. A big soft arm wrapped me around the chest. Come away, Cookie, Sula breathed. Hurry, now hurry. She dragged me off the steps. Your mom is not home, is she? No, wait, Piccolo, I screamed. Where's Piccolo? Right here, Sula said. She held the cage up by the handle for me to see. Come on now. By the time we crossed Freeman's Bridge Road, Sula was leaning on me instead of pulling me. Pick's cage bumped against her big side as she heft into the parking lot. Oh, Sula, I choked. I looked over my shoulder at the trailer. It's my fault. I was so stupid. No, no, Cookie. Are you hurt? Sula asked. I looked at my hands. My palms were red. No, I said. We heard breaking glass and turned to see flames in front of the picture window. Seconds later, the glass in my bunk space blew out. The walls turned black and folded in. My little square window frame glowed red hot. I heard the sirens up on Knott Street. Hose number 6, I thought. Sula was still heaving every breath into her chest. Her eyes were wide. She set the hamster cage down with a thunk in front of her and leaned on it. The wires bent under her weight. I had never seen her so far from the store, so far from a place to sit down. Sula, wait here, I yelled. I ran up ahead and went into the mini mart. I dragged her lawn chair out to her. She fell into it. I'm sorry, Sula. I squatted down beside her and patted her arm. You okay, Sula? She said. I just need a minute. It's good you're safe, little Cookie. You and your little hamster are safe. She stopped to breathe and then said, Elliot, and his fancy dial phone, thank goodness. Sula let out a sigh. All I had to do was punch that button the second I saw the smoke. She closed her eyes, leaned back, and smiled. I stooped beside her, rested my chin on her big arm, and watched the fire trucks come down the hill. Wow, this is very intense and sad. 2 trucks pulled right up in front of the trailer. Another pulled into the empty acre right beside the mini mart. Within seconds, the firemen tore the door off the trailer. 2 guys went in with masks over their heads. There's no one inside, I hollered. It's okay, Cookie. They've got to do their job, Sula told me. Oh, Sula, what if one of them gets hurt? And all 'cause of me. Don't think about it, Cookie. They'll come out. Sula was right. What a relief to see them both appearing out of the smoke and giving an all-clear signal to the others. It was weird to watch them let the place burn. I mean, they turned the hoses on and all, but they weren't fighting to save anything now. Not really. Then I remembered something. I jumped up. What is it, Cookie? Sula called after me. I didn't answer. I ran through the river of water to get to the fire truck that parked beside the mini mart. Hey! I called up to the cab. I grabbed the chrome bar and pulled myself up to the window. Hey, I gotta talk to you, please. We're on a call, the fire guy said sternly. It's about the electrical connection. The trailer is hooked up to the laundromat next door. You've got to make sure they pull it. The guy now that's very thoughtful. I think that Addie was thinking about how the electrical wiring could lead to a fire in the laundromat and cause even more damage and more people to get hurt. So Addie's still thinking about other people. The guy practically knocked me off the truck when he swung the door open. He hit the ground running in his big boots. He splashed across the Freeman's Bridge Road and disappeared behind the trailer. In a minute, he was standing there again, smiling at me and giving me a double thumbs up with his big gloves. I knew that that'd be the best thing I'd see that'd be the best thing I'd see that day. The heads and roses had been spared. It was good you told us about the electrical connection to the other building. That was smart, kiddo. One of the fire guys gave my head a pat. Yeah, I'm a real genius, I mumbled. All I could think of was the taco pan and how many days I'd let it sit. So Addie's blaming herself because she didn't wash the grease out of the pan, which probably helped the fire to either be worse than it was or to get started. Looks like it started in the kitchen, the fireman said. It did. There was a pan of oil on the stove. I was trying to make cocoa. I must have turned the wrong burner up too high. I wondered if I could get arrested for that and end up in a reform school or something. But so far, nobody seemed particularly mad at me. I stuck a finger between the bars of Pick's cage, and she took it in her paws and sniffed it. Gosh, what trouble I must smell like today. You prevented a double disaster, the fireman added, glancing at the heads and roses again. Then he smiled as he looked up at the sky. Ah, here it comes. Rain's going to help. I blinked at as the drops started to fall. Wow. What was the title of this chapter? I forgot. You remember? My Fault. And I bet we can all make an inference about what Addie thinks is her fault. You know, and technically I guess it could be, but here she is, 12 years old, trying to live on her own and cook and take care of everything. And now her trailer's burned. I wonder what's going to happen next. What predictions are you making? The next chapter. Wow, I wonder what you will make it this chapter title. See if you can read this. I guess it's backwards for you, right? A Hero in the Fog. And it's chapter 43, and we're on page 260. And I am going to make you stay in suspense a little bit. And we will resume next time. So please leave your comments. Send me messages on Google Classroom so we can talk about what's going on and what you think is going to happen between Addie and Dwight and her sisters and Hannah, or maybe between Addie and her mom. What's going to happen to Momers? Do you think she's going to find out soon, or how is she going to find out? Is she going to come back and just see the trailer burn all the way to the ground? Make some comments to me and we can discuss this, please. I want to hear from you, and I will talk to you soon. Take care.